Conference play has come to the Football Bowl subdivision. Paycheck games have been replaced by can't-afford-to-lose matchups on the Power 5 and Group of 5 ranks. It's about time. League action marks the true beginning to the push for the college football playoff. What does that make non-conference play? Still important in any number of ways, including as a primer for what may lie ahead during the next 2 months of the regular season. This week's top 10 list evaluates the season's first 4 weeks to answer a question: what is the FBS conference power structure heading into the final Saturday of September? 1. Big Ten Conference best team, Penn State worst team, Rutgers. With 4 teams in the top 10 of this week's Samway Coaches Poll, the Big Ten touts the most impressive top third of any conference in the FBS. After that top 4, Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State and Wisconsin, comes Iowa, Maryland, Northwestern, Michigan State, and Purdue. If not by more than a hair or two above the SEC, this has been the top conference in college football. 2. Southeastern Conference best team, Alabama worst team, Missouri. Alabama has been the nation's best team. That doesn't mean the SEC is the best league. Auburn and LSU haven't met expectations. Minus Georgia, the East Division has been awful. With just 2 unbeaten teams to this point, you must at least consider the possibility that the SEC will once again enter the postseason with a clear top dog. That'd be Alabama, followed by a handful of underachieving would-be contenders. 3. Atlantic Coast Conference best team, Clemson worst team, Boston College. Clemson has more than upheld its end of the bargain, but Florida State's early swoon has robbed the ACC of one of its 2 clear playoff contenders. Others have filled the void, notably Virginia Tech and Miami, Florida, but the league has been weaker than expected. The potential remains for an ACC team to reach a semi-final, obviously, as well as place 2 or 3 teams in the final top 10. 4. Big 12 Conference best team, Oklahoma worst team, Kansas. Oklahoma as the best team, Kansas as the worst. Seems familiar. Maybe this year's Big 12 will be different. There have been some very good signs. Oklahoma's as good as expected, TCU has bounced back, Oklahoma State's still a prime contender, West Virginia's explosive on offense, and Texas Tech may have found a defense, for example. 5. Pac-12 Conference best team, Southern California worst team, Oregon State. The Pac-12 isn't too far behind the Big 12, nor even that far off the pace set by the Big Ten, SEC and ACC. The conference has 4 unbeatens in the playoff mix: USC, Washington, Washington State, and Utah. Things get a little hazy after that quartet, however, and it seems very possible that the league's middle and lower tier will chew itself up during league play. 6. American Athletic Conference best team, Memphis worst team, Connecticut. If the first month holds true down the stretch, the winner of the American, barring some major upsets in league play, will make a January bowl. For now, Memphis looks like the best team. South Florida isn't too far behind. The group of solid teams in the top half, Memphis, USF, Navy, Southern Methodist, Houston and Central Florida, makes up for the league's handful of weak links. 7. Mountain West Conference best team, San Diego State worst team, Nevada. For now, the Mountain West trails the American in the hierarchy of Group of 5 leagues. That'll be important to watch as the playoff selection committee looks to find its Access Bowl invitee to a New Year's Six bowl. But one thing hasn't changed: SDSU is the team to beat. Nevada's been the worst team by some distance, but Boise State's 2-2 mark has been disappointing. 8. Mid-American Conference best team, Toledo worst team, Bowling Green. The potential is there for as many as 7 or 8 teams to eventually reach bowl eligibility. The best of the bunch, Toledo, had a shot against Miami, Florida, to cement its place among the elite teams among the Group of 5. The Rockets still stand as the max best, though a home date with Northern Illinois on November 2 will again be a winner-take-fall matchup in the West Division. It's been stunning to watch Bowling Green slide. 9. Conference USA best team, Texas San Antonio worst team, Charlotte UTSA is the league's lone unbeaten, with its most impressive win coming against Baylor on September 10. Louisiana Tech was under consideration for its solid victory against Western Kentucky and a narrow loss to South Carolina this past weekend. Bringing up the rear, Charlotte, which has been very bad, and Texas El Paso, which has also been abysmal but not quite as horrible as the 49ers. 10. Sun Belt Conference best team, Appalachian State worst team, Georgia Southern as expected, the nation's weakest conference. That's okay. What is the Sun Belt? A fine league that plays patsy to Power 5 programs in September. Appalachian State might be 2-2, but the Mount